the Testing, Evaluation, and Research Services Office, and I'd like to welcome you entering freshman new student class of fall 2020. The first one is, as the name implies, testing. We administer your placement exams. We also have some other testing programs that we can tell you about. The second one is evaluation. At the end of your classes, you're going to be conducting what's called the student evaluation of teaching, where you get to evaluate your instructors, and we are the office that processes that. And finally, research services. That's not something that directly affects you, the student. Indirectly it does, because we conduct various research programs for the university and for the faculty. And based on those research studies we conduct, they do go into helping prepare the various programs and things that the university offers. So while you may not notice we're doing that, it actually does affect you.
These are some typical questions we get in the testing office. When should I test? What test do I need? How long for results? And then there are some other questions. We're going to address these one by one. So a lot of times we get questions about when should I test? What's a good answer for that?
The best answer to that question is that ideally you would have taken your test before you attended your orientation session. That's because at orientation, you actually registered for your classes, and some of those do require placement tests as a prerequisite. However, if you didn't do it before orientation, that's nothing to be concerned about. You can do it afterwards. You just have to maybe adjust your schedule later. What you do have to do is you must complete your placement exams before the first day of classes.
We recommend that you take your tests early. A lot of us wait until the last minute, but that doesn't work out for people very well with tests. We really care about you, and we want you to do your best. But sometimes people wait until the last minute and their internet goes out. There are lots of things that are going on right now with connections to the internet that could get in the way of your ability to do your best on your test. So we recommend that you do your testing early, just in case something goes wrong.
Not waiting to the last minute is very important. If you have any questions at all, call us or email us. Well, email these days, I suppose. Email us, and we will be very happy to look into it, explain anything. We're thrilled to be able to do that. Please email us.
Sometimes you're going to find that our website has very particular things that you need to pay attention to. If you're not paying attention to those things, it can come back to haunt you. So it's better to contact us and ask a question than to just skim over something lightly. If something in the website doesn't make sense, please do get in touch with us. We're not intending to be confusing, but usually we explain this to students in person, and instead of just providing it on a website. So it's likely you're going to have questions, and you can always email testing@wayne.edu if you get stuck. What is remote testing?
Remote testing is the process that we've adopted as a result of our closure due to our current health situation. And so we've changed from regular in-person testing, where you're sitting with a group of your fellow students all at the room at the same time, to a system where you can take your exams on your device at your own schedule pretty much, although we do have some set dates within the tape. You can take it whenever you want. We've found the system to be working quite well. You can take the test on just about any device, a desktop computer, a laptop, an iPad. If necessary, you can even take them on a smartphone, although we don't really recommend that. What is necessary is that you do have to have a good internet connection when you're testing, and you need to make sure you have some privacy in your house, at least as much as possible. You are not required to have a webcam or any other type of direct communication devices.
Students would like to know usually when they register exactly where they're going to be going and what website they're going to have to go to, that sort of thing. Sometimes we can give that information right away. Most often we're going to be sending you an email before the test that will have all of the login information, but we will let you know all of that ahead of time.
We can tell you that the biology and chemistry placement exams are given through the Canvas system. That's a system that you're going to become very familiar with because most of your classwork will be done through there. That's the remote, how your classes will be taught for the most part. And even when we go back to regular in-person classes, a lot of courses use Canvas as a support for the in-person work. So that's the biology and the chemistry. The math test is being given through a program called ALEX. And that one you will get instructions for once you actually register.
What's the hardest thing that people run into when it comes to doing ALEX?
With ALEX, it can be a little bit confusing because it's not, it's very much a different way of taking the tests than what you would be used to. Obviously, you're not taking it sitting in a room with other people, but even like the Canvas tests, which have specific test dates, with the ALEX system, once you've registered for the test, we have one test date that applies for the entire semester. Once you register for that, you are then given your instructions to use the ALEX system. And at that point, you're entirely on your own as far as determining when you wish to take the test. There are no set test dates. You can take it whenever you like once you've registered. There is simply a deadline when you have to complete the test for a particular semester. For fall semester classes, that deadline has already passed. It was August 31st. For winter classes, we haven't actually set the date yet, but it will be a day or two before the start of winter classes. So probably either the end of December or the beginning of January, depending on how the calendar falls. That there's some confusion about. It's basically, it's very important that you read fully the instructions that we send you because there's a lot of information there and there are some technical details that you need to be aware of before you start testing. We are asking that if you're going to take the test for winter classes, if you haven't yet taken it, or if you've taken it once and want to retake it, we are asking that you don't actually complete an assessment between now and September 16th. This is kind of our downtime and we're trying to get caught up. We will actively resume testing on September 16th, and we will have a new test that you can register for if you haven't yet done so. We will have that published just before or just after September 16th.
People ask us what tests they need to take. What sort of answers do you give them?
It's really difficult to answer that question just flat out. Right away, we need to know a whole lot of information. What kind of major are you going into? Have you taken AP? Have you taken any CLEP tests? There are a lot of factors. Really, the best thing to do, especially if you're coming in fresh, is to talk to an advisor, go over either the regular academic advisors. They would be in the undergraduate library that you can't go into anymore. Or I guess you can now. Is it open? I don't know.
They have team meetings. They've been having appointments through Teams, I think.
There you go. Yes, you can meet with your advisor.
Yeah. Every person's a little different and every person has a different reason why they want to take a test. And the trick is making sure that you don't just take a test because you think it's the thing to do. Make sure that it's going to help you.
It gives you so many more options, so much more room to make changes when you need to do so. So work with your advisor from day one. Get that all figured out. And once you've done that, your life will be so much more smooth.
Advisors have a plan of work that they'll set up for you, and we can't tell you enough how important it is to talk to your advisor. You may be a shy person and think, oh, I can do this myself. I don't need to talk to my advisor. And granted, there are people who just read the manual and they're just fine. But a good conversation with your advisor where you really talk about what your plans are, what your goals are, and that can really save you a lot of time. So if you talk to your advisor and they say you don't need to take the math test, don't take it. Wait until you need to take something. That'll save you a lot of time. That's a good point. So let's see. Here's our next question. How long for results?
How long does it take for results? That depends on the test you're taking. For the biology and chemistry, in our remote testing system, we've been doing pretty good getting them posted by the end of the day after you take the test. For the math test, those we post those on a weekly basis, and so how long it takes depends on when you took it. If you take it at the beginning of what we'll call a testing period, it could take as much as a week. If you happen to take it the day before the end of the period, then it would be the next day. However long it takes, we do send you, and we will send you an email once they have been posted. And once you get that email, you know that you are ready to, you are eligible to register for your class.
Things that we get questions about are related to credit by exam, special language testing, and what could you tell us a little bit about those?
I can tell you about the language testing. We do a certain language test in our office called the oral proficiency, case of certain requirements or for language placement. But if you're interested in any kind of language placement, you should start first with classical then modern languages. They will go over everything that they have in by way of testing, and if you can't do any of theirs, then you can, well, actually, then you talk to advising, and they'll see what's appropriate for you.
Oh, good. Okay, what about alternate credit by exam? This is the replacement we've been using instead of CLEP during the pandemic, because a lot of our CLEP testing and our other prometric testing we haven't been able to do because they're only available for in-person testing. What should someone do if they are interested in alternate credit by exam?
For the credit by exam program, and just to, credit by exam kind of sits side to side with the college level exam program, so let me explain the two together. The college level exam program is a national testing program administered through the College Board, the same people who do the SAT. Every school that uses the program determines for themselves which of the CLEP exams, there's about 50 or so of them, they'll determine which of those they will accept, what courses they'll give credit for based on them, and what passing score they will require to meet that requirement. Wayne State is a CLEP testing center normally, and so Wayne State students would typically take the test through our center in order to take the test for Wayne State. Because our testing center is closed, we can't administer the test to you right now until we reopen. So in order to fill that void, we rediscovered a program called Credit by Special Exam. Credit by Special Exam is an institutional program that does fill the same need that the CLEP exam does. However, as the name implies, it's done institutionally, not through a national company. And the way that the Credit by Exam program works is that any department that wants to offer an exam that students can take to earn credit for a course, any department is eligible to do so. They set their own standards, they create their own exam. Right now, there's about 6 or 7 departments that we're aware of that have been doing it. More could do it if they choose to do so. The way that it works, if you want to try and earn credit for a course through the Credit by Exam program, is you first have to go to your academic advisor. They need to determine if they want you to be able to take an exam rather than taking the class. In some cases, they may say, no, we want you to take the class. If, however, they do say that, yes, it's okay if you take an exam instead of the class, you then go to the department that teaches that class to see if they are participating in the Credit by Exam program. And if they are, then great. They say that yes, they can administer the test to you. Now, there is a fee for this testing program, and this is really the only part that the Wayne State, that our office, the testing office, is involved. Because the cashier's office isn't open to take your payments, we are one of the few offices that has a online payment system that works for a variety of different things. So we will assist in making the payment for the test. What you need to do is there's a form, either by filling out a form that's available through our website or by just a series of emails. We need to know that your advisor has approved the test, that the department that teaches the class has approved the test. You forward those emails to us, and then we will provide you with instructions on how to pay for the test. The fee for the test, it's $10 per credit hour. So if you're taking a test to earn 4 credit hours, it would be $40, 3 credit hours would be $30, and so on. All the information about the Credit by Exam program, how it works, is on our website.
There's a link right at the top of our main testing website that takes you to updates for the current semester that are related to COVID. So
Yes.
just click on that green button at the top of the screen and it'll take you to more information about special things. And kind of about halfway through the page is this idea of credit by exam.
Yep.
Are there other things that we should talk about on this screen that come up?
Well, just coming back to a little bit more about CLEP, because we do want to make it clear that although we are not open as a testing center, that doesn't mean it's impossible to take the CLEP exam. There are other centers that have opened because of their particular setups, they are able to administer the exam while we are not. And you can take the exam at any one of those centers and still have the results sent to Wayne State. So again, it's not required that you take the test here. You can take it elsewhere. If you go to our CLEP webpage, you'll find a link to the CLEP companies, the College Board's webpage. And from there, you can find what they call the Test Center Finder, which you can find all of the various test centers that give the test. And going through those, you can maybe find one that is open and available for testing. Right now, we are aware of 2 centers that have been, whether they still are, but have been testing. They are Michigan State University, and then there's also a community college in Perrysburg, Ohio. It's Perrysburg Community College, and they are just south of Toledo.
What about accommodations? If someone has a disability and will need to have some accommodations.
Okay. Under normal circumstances, accommodations are much more common, I would say, for students who either need extended time or an individual testing session. And so again, in normal circumstances, you would take your tests through the Student Disability Services Office, SDS. You see a link there on the page for that office. Now, because testing is all being done remotely, some of those things that you would normally need are just inherent with the remote testing situation. However, if you do require, for example, extended time or have some other situation where regular remote testing doesn't work, you would contact the SDS, the Student Disability Service Office. They would determine what resources are available and what are appropriate and then available working with us, and we would be able to get you set up for what you need.
That sounds good. Okay, we also have some questions that students ask us about student evaluation of teaching. We typically get asked, how do I participate? Why should I participate? And how do I find out about professors? How do you participate? You will be receiving an email for your class in the last 3 weeks of your class. Click on the link in the email and just go through the questions. If you don't see a link, check Canvas and click on the SET button in the lower left-hand side of the page. Now, we have a great video that you might want to take a look at. It's at set.wayne.edu. But just in general, why should you participate? Student opinions matter. They inform faculty hire, salary increase, and promotion decisions. So your opinions really pay off. If you have an opinion about a teacher, if you want someone to get rewarded for teaching well, it's very important to fill those out so that they can get salary increases, and they deserve it. You also can help your fellow students learn about the best teachers at Wayne State University. So one thing you have access to on the student page is information about the ratings that your colleagues have given the professors who might be interested in taking classes with. So take a look at our website, testing.wayne.edu/evaluation/student. On that page, at the bottom of the page, you can fill out the type of class that you're looking at, and even look by the a particular instructor to find out their ratings. So please take advantage of this. It's there to help. There's also a link right on the registration page when you register for classes. Look for the link that says bookstore and click on that link, and we have our information there. So we're glad that you paid attention to this video, and we want to welcome you to Wayne State University. If you have questions, please contact us. If you have a question about testing, our email is testing@wayne.edu. If you have a question about student evaluation of teaching, please contact us at set.wayne.edu. Thanks so much for your attention.